Welcome to the new world and to God's new revelation for that new world. I invite you to enter this prayer with me because it's a prayer for you as well as for the world. I pray that God's new revelation for the world, given at this great turning point for humanity, will be felt and recognized. That it will not merely be thought of as a controversy. It will not merely be disputed on ideological grounds, but received in the heart, based upon a deeper need and a deeper recognition within you. I pray that those who are amongst the first to respond to the revelation may truly respond. May suspend their judgments and doubt. May see that this is beyond all of the errors and failures of religion, but indeed is a pure revelation from our ancient home. I pray that its words will be heard and felt, and that my presence may give testimony to its strength and to its authenticity. Thank you. 31 years ago, my life was overtaken, but not by chance, because for 7 years prior to that, I had been teaching the way of knowledge. And somehow that teaching finally caught up with me in an epiphany of such strength that it altered the course of my life and my destiny from then on. A presence came upon me in the middle of the night that was so powerful, I thought my body was literally going to fall apart. The rays of initiation with formidable strength, so there would be no doubt that I was engaging with something divine, powerful, something with a message. I have never had an experience like that since. But it was enough to alter the course of my life. And in the weeks and months following, I relinquished myself of all of my students. I had many students at that time. I left them, I left everyone I was associating with, and I wandered for 9 months. And at the end of that 9 months, I was in the desert at a retreat facility, and the voice returned and said, "You are to begin recording." No word for 9 months. And I began recording. And that would be the very beginning of the revelation, which began in January of 1983. But it would be another 7 years of preparation before I could receive Steps to Knowledge, the book of practices that we're all engaged with now. And during that 7 years, I was instructed about the reality of the future of this world, about life in the universe, and what I would need to prepare. And also during that 7 years, the voice began to speak through me in a series of teachings given in several cities around the United States that would constitute, from those teachings were gathered all of the chapters in Wisdom from the Greater Community, Volume 1. And it would be later that the new message would begin to address the great issues of the world, and not merely the pathway for individuals, but the needs of everyone, the needs of the heart, the needs for clarity and purpose and stability, the need for justice, the need for redemption, the need for a new life. For God is not merely here to give you what you want. Do not think that. God is here to give you what you need. And only God knows what you really need. This became then a world teaching, and not merely or only a phenomenal pathway for the individual. And from a world teaching, it became a new message from God. All over these ensuing years, then, I and my true companion, Patricia, and several others who are still with me today, kept this fire alive so that it could grow, and so that we could grow with it, so that we could keep pace with it, for it was leading us. We were not leading it. It is like a pathway of 1,000 miles, and you're at mile 98, and you don't know where it's going. But you have to be at mile 98. During this time, whatever impatience, frustration, anxiety was slowly wrung out of me, or I could not get to mile 99. With all rational thought compelling me to leave this course of action and do the sensible thing, yes? I'm very glad I did not do that. And you are very glad I did not do that. So I'm the living testament that your turning point in life is real, authentic, and leads to a greater end. For who I am now is something I never would have imagined and never would have wanted. I'd be happy to live in seclusion with gardens, books, bicycles, and woods. And maybe a train. And a guitar. But God had other plans for me, as does God have other plans for you. And I'm here to bring those plans to you. Not by telling you what they are, but by giving you the recognition that your life is for something greater. And that whatever you may think you can do or must do to assure yourself happiness or security will not be sufficient for your heart and your soul. And when you realize that, that will send a message to the angelic assembly from which I have come to begin a greater journey for you. And you are important now because you are amongst the first to respond to God's new revelation for the world. And so heaven looks upon you, seeing if you can receive, if you can respond, if you can undergo the process of reclamation within your own life in such a way that you take responsibility for the things that you do. On the strength of your own character and commitment. And heaven watches to see if you will have the strength to do this. If you can do this on your own. If you can bear that challenge of patience and frustration and uncertainty that I had to endure for decades to be able to bring something this wonderful, this marvelous, and this needed to the world. You're asked to do something like this on a much smaller scale, but no less powerful for you. as if your life is being eclipsed by something greater than yourself, and thus freeing you from your fear, your anxiety, and your self-degradation. Being eclipsed by something that restores to you your honor, your dignity, your power, and your purpose in a world facing catastrophic change. How will you know this is a new message from God? You have to answer that question. I am watching to see if you can. Heaven is watching to see if you can. There is real pressure here because you're important. You're sent to this. Accept that pressure. It's a gift of grace that will reinforce your awareness and your strength. I had to go beyond being a teacher or a facilitator for individuals to become a world teacher and to become a messenger carrying a message greater than anything that has been given to humanity ever. Given now to a literate world, given now to a world of global communications, not given to a tribe or a group or a nation or a region alone, but to everyone all at once. Because it is for everyone all at once. We are the tribe of humanity, entering a greater community of life. Our world is declining. We are going to have to become the tribe of humanity to rescue human civilization and to prepare for emergence into a greater arena of life, of which we know nothing. God has given us this preparation, and for the first time in all of history, the reality and the spirituality of life in the universe is being made available to us in terms we can understand, in ways that we can share with our friends and our children. We're being prepared not only individually for a greater life, but for a greater life for the whole world, because they are connected. Knowledge within you, the greater intelligence within you that God has given you, is connected to the world. It is not your personal resource alone. It's your window into the world. To protect you from becoming self-obsessed and to rescue you from self-obsession and to give you a greater future than your past. This calling for me, then, is a calling for others. And it has the power of heaven behind it. So if your life is heading out here and those rays of initiation hit you, they're going to stop you in your tracks. Because the obligations of earth are not as powerful as the will of heaven. And when those rays strike you, if they have not done so already, you will feel that there is something overriding your life. And it's beautiful. But it's strong. And strength is frightening to those who are weak. Because it asks you to become strong. Because you are strong underneath weakness and confusion and ambivalence. God redeems us by giving us something important to do. It's not what we would have done otherwise. It's not merely about belief or adhering to a philosophy or theology or being a dutiful practitioner of religion, it is about doing those things that God is giving you to do through the power of knowledge that God has put within you. God does not care what religion you adhere to, because in the universe there are billions of religions. It is the movement of the heart. It is the intention of the soul. It is the authenticity of the life that stirs the greater powers that watch over us. So this is a rethink of religion and redemption and salvation and enlightenment and everything. Everything. And it's all coming from the great love, because your life is important and heaven knows it. You don't know it yet, except once in a while. My task is to extend this calling, for I cannot bear this alone. The fact that to even reach this point, I would not have made it alone. This is not an individual journey. This is a reunion with people and purpose, because this is what prepares you for your ancient home, which is an environment of total and complete inclusion and relationship. God does not redeem us by calling us back, but by bringing us forth in this world with the power and presence that lives within us, that has brought you to the new message, that is giving you the chance that people in the future will envy you for living at the time of revelation. Your chance now to be with the greatest event in the world today. And this is the greatest event in the world today. When you can see that, your life will begin to make sense. No matter how many mistakes you have made, you will see that something has been trying to draw you to where you need to be. Thus, my life becomes the demonstration, despite my mistakes and my distrust, because I did not give up. I did not capitulate. I did not fall prey to the innumerous traps of culture and of human psychology. But I had to prove myself. For 7 years before my epiphany, I had to prove myself. Because all those years I only taught what was given to me to teach. And I also studied everything I was given to teach. And then for 7 years I had to study and prepare and to be able to receive that presence again and again, starting with a few moments at a time to places where I had to be with it for entire days. Without going crazy or falling apart. And I had a family to take care of, and I had worldly responsibilities, and I had to maintain myself. So all these things had to be proven before I would be given the next installment. Just like you have to prove certain things to the angelic assembly before the next big installment can be given to you. You cannot be entrusted with the will of heaven if you're going to fall apart or be dissuaded by some other force in the world. So the long periods of preparation are that proving ground. Be patient. Persevere. But no one is ready So everyone needs preparation. And the preparation has to occur at the pace for which it's needed, not at your pace. And this is the great responsibility that comes with the offer of greater power and strength and grace in life. No one receives these things by accident. People are selected before they know they're selected, and they are prepared before they know they're being prepared. And they are tested before they know they're being tested. Until you reach a point where you understand that you are being tested, you are being prepared, and you are being witnessed. And though my challenge is greater than yours, and my burden is greater than yours, you have this same requirement. This is not about hero worship, or about everyone gathering under the shade of the great tree, where nothing grows, by the way. This is about empowering the people of earth to rescue their world and to prepare for their future in a greater community of life, which is a very difficult environment. You prepare for others as I have prepared for you. Your life is not even about you. Your life is about what you render to the world and your impact on others. How's that for a total eclipse? I will have to face incredible danger and opposition in the world, as have all the messengers of the past. And though I cannot honestly say I'm ready for that, it is coming. So I have to prepare for that. That means that there are people I love I can't be with. That means there are people I love who may turn against me. That means that every form of ignorance and foolishness and stupidity will be projected upon me, and perhaps even upon you to some degree. You have to have the power of heaven to endure that, without falling into hostility, anger, and violence. But as you prepare, the presence is with you. Your life is important. And what you are associating with now is of the greatest importance. And though the world does not know this and will not honor this, you must honor it and honor it in each other. Because heaven is counting upon those who can receive and who can maintain the purity of the message, given now in a pure form, as all of God's previous messages have been corrupted, misused, and misappropriated. Lastly, I want you to know that the messengers are with me. That Jesus, the Buddha, and the Muhammad stand with me. They will not return to the world, for their work here is done. But I come from their host to bring the new message to the world. And they stand with me. And therefore, everything that I present is relevant to their traditions, traditions that have been born of their presence and power here. Everything I teach will resonate with the purity of those traditions if that purity can be understood. This is not a time of worshiping the master or the teacher. It is a time for the people to rise with the power and the presence that has been given to them. For only that will rescue the world and preserve human freedom and self-determination in a universe where freedom is rare. It's my blessing then that the power and strength of this will be received. I understand the fear and the resistance and the self-doubt. But within you is the power that can receive and will receive. I will need your help as I go forward. I will need your witnessing. I will need your assistance. Or my voice will be lost in the world. A world that will grow ever more chaotic and dissonant as we proceed. I pray that the power of heaven that has sent me and has bestowed this gift and this burden upon me will be shared and will be honored by enough people to create the turning point for all of humanity. May the presence be with us. Nasi Nuparikram.